On the night of August 5th, 2023, a 21-year-old woman named Saria Barney sat in a rideshare with her husband, heading home from his birthday party. She had her phone in her hand. At 2:18 in the morning, she started taking screenshots, pictures of messages on her husband's phone, messages to another woman, explicit, ongoing, a full affair he had been hiding. She sent those screenshots to herself, one by one, between 2:18 and 2:24 a.m. At 2:48 a.m., a neighbor called 911 to report hearing a gunshot. 30 minutes. That's how long passed between the moment Saria Barney discovered her husband was cheating on her and the moment her life ended. She was shot once, in the head, above her left temple. Her husband, U.S. Army soldier Zarrius Hildabrand, would later tell police she had simply walked to work the next morning and never came back. He told them this while holding her phone in his possession. Saria Barney grew up in Utah. By everyone who knew her, she was described as energetic, warm, and deeply close to her family, especially her mother, Meredith Barney. The two spoke constantly. Meredith had Saria young, and their bond was the kind people describe as more like best friends than mother and daughter. Saria had a dream. She wanted to be a combat medic, so she enlisted in the Alaska National Guard, packed up, and moved to Anchorage. She was building something, a career, a life. It was in basic training that she met Zarrius Hildabrand, a U.S. Army soldier, also young, also ambitious. They fell fast. They knew each other for less than a year before getting married. Zarrius was 20, Saria was 21. The wedding was in Utah. 8 months later, Saria Barney was dead. In those 8 months, according to testimony and evidence at trial, Zarrius had been carrying on an affair with a woman named Cheyenne, someone he knew from before his marriage. He had been sending her photographs, offering to fly her out to Alaska. The messages were on his phone the whole time, and Saria had no idea until the night of August 5th, 2023, the night of her husband's 21st birthday celebration. The evening started normally enough. Zarrius, Saria, and friends went out to celebrate. They went to Dave & Buster's. Then they tried to get into a club, but a bouncer turned them away because Zarrius was already too intoxicated. The group split up. Zarrius and Saria got into an Uber together and headed home. That was the last time anyone outside of that apartment saw Saria Barney alive. According to prosecutors, what happened next was this. Sometime between 2:18 and 2:24 in the morning, either during the ride or after they arrived home, Saria found the messages on Zarrius's phone. According to prosecutors, she took screenshots and sent them to herself, one by one, documenting the affair before confronting him. Those screenshots tell the story of the timeline. Prosecutor Dunlop told the jury in closing arguments, "She's taking all of these screenshots all the way up until 2:24 a.m. At 2:48 a.m., 24 minutes after the last screenshot was sent, a neighbor called 911 to report a gunshot. Saria Barney had been shot once, in the head, just above her left temple. The medical examiner testified it was a close-range gunshot wound. Prosecutors told the jury it was not consistent with self-infliction. She couldn't possibly hold the frame and pull the trigger in a comfortable way for it to be self-inflicted, Prosecutor Dunlop said. After Saria was shot, Zarrius Hildabrand did not call 911. Instead, according to his own testimony at trial, he did the following. He deleted the screenshots from Saria's phone. "They're just shameful and embarrassing, and it just seemed like the appropriate thing to do," he told the jury. He used Saria's phone to text her boss, pretending to be her, saying she wouldn't be coming into work. He went to multiple stores. Surveillance footage captures him at self-checkout, where he purchased hydrogen peroxide, a spray bottle, deodorant, and Q-tips. The hydrogen peroxide and the sprayer were to help with cleaning up the surrounding areas and the mattress, he explained from the witness stand. He cleaned the blood from the bedroom. He put Saria's body into a 96-gallon trash can. He made sure to use the back door of the apartment. "The closest exit I knew there wasn't any cameras," he said. He placed her body, along with the soiled bedding, a blanket, a pillow, a sheet, and a pair of tan military gloves, into a storm drain approximately 100 yards from their apartment building. He put the manhole cover back. "I showered after returning to my apartment," he testified, and went to work the next day. He did not report Saria missing for another 30 hours. When he finally did, he told police she had walked to work that morning. She had been in the drain pipe the entire time. When Saria's mother, Meredith Barney, heard her daughter was missing, she immediately flew to Alaska from Utah. She organized a search party. She walked the streets of Anchorage looking for her daughter, and Zarrius Hildabrand walked with her. According to Meredith's testimony, he was acting weird, uncomfortable, very paranoid and very rigid, giving excuses and deflecting. She noted where he did not want them to go and planned to return to those places later. He walked alongside a grieving mother, searching for a daughter he had already killed and hidden 100 yards from his own front door. On August 10th, 5 days after Saria was shot, a landscaping crew found a new 96-gallon trash can near the storm drain behind the apartment complex. It had reddish-brown staining on it. Police investigated. They found Saria Barney inside the drain, beneath a pillow, exactly where her husband had left her. Zarrius Hildabrand was arrested the very next day. In jail, when a friend came to visit, Zarrius said something that would later be played for the jury. He asked his friend if there was a message he could pass on to someone. The friend said, "Not really." Then Zarrius said, "I hope this thing isn't recording, because I did what I did." Zarrius Hildabrand went on trial in Anchorage in June 2026, nearly 3 years after Saria's death. He testified in his own defense. His account: he had no memory of the night. He woke up the morning of August 6th, found his phone, realized the affair screenshots had been sent to Saria's phone, and then found his wife already dead from what he said appeared to be a self-inflicted gunshot wound. "I was going to ask my wife about it, and that's when I realized she was no longer alive," he said. "I went to uncover her, and essentially, the first thing I saw was the gunshot wound to my wife's head." He admitted everything that came after: deleting the screenshots, impersonating Saria to her boss, buying cleaning supplies, putting her body in a trash can, sliding her into a drain pipe, going to work. He admitted all of it. He just said he didn't pull the trigger. The defense argued the gunshot angle was slightly upward, which they said could be consistent with self-infliction, and that his actions afterward were driven by panic and fear, not guilt. The prosecution's response was direct. Where is she? What happened? When will we find her? Those are the questions that everyone else in Saria Barney's life was asking, except the defendant, because he already knew all the answers. The prosecution also addressed the on-stand moment every viewer of the trial remembered. When the prosecutor asked Zarrius directly, "Do you know if you pulled the trigger, sir?" His answer: "I do not." The jury deliberated for approximately 10 hours over 2 days. On June 25, 2026, they found Zarrius Hildabrand guilty of second-degree murder and multiple counts of tampering with evidence. They acquitted him on the more serious charge of first-degree murder. He stood expressionless as the verdict was read. He is 24 years old. Sentencing is scheduled for October 23, 2026. Saria Barney's family stopped using her married name after she died. She is Saria Barney. That was her name. That is who she was. She was 21 years old. She had moved to Alaska to become a combat medic. She was 2 weeks away from her mother coming to visit. Meredith had plans booked for her own 40th birthday trip to Anchorage to see her daughter. According to testimony, Saria had been really excited about it. What I keep coming back to is the screenshots. The fact that in the last minutes of her life, Saria Barney was methodical enough to document what she found, to send those screenshots to herself, one by one, as if some part of her knew she needed a record. The screenshots survived. They were recovered. They told the story. Those screenshots tell the story of the timeline, the prosecutor said. They did. Sentencing is in October 2026. I'll pin a comment when it happens. If you love cases like this, the ones that don't make the front page, the ones the big channels haven't touched yet, you're in the right place. Subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss the next one. And drop a comment below. Tell me which case you think deserves to be told next. I read every single one. I'll see you in the next video.